Shalom. Assalamu alaikum, my friends. So, with our wine, as you have remembered, we were waiting for it to settle. So I just gave it a whole nother day. So today is another day. So we were checking on it now, and we'll see if it's all settled down where we can separate the alcohol from the yeast and the seeds and whatever else is left in the very bottom. Let's take a look. Now, you remember the stories that we were talking about the miracle of the wedding at Cana. Oh, look at that. Yeah, look at that, everyone. So we have our big jar here. I have this big jar here, and it's ready to go, so I can pour that into this into here and then back into the little jar. But let's get a closer look at these. Take a look. See how has settled down. And now we have that in the very bottom. All that goop we don't want. We don't need any of that in the bottom of there. And the same with this one. We don't need any of that. That's all leftover yeast and seeds and anything that may have made it through the first strain. So now we will slowly open this up. Do with this one first. Let's try we'll do the blueberry and cherry wine first. You want to be very careful. You don't want to mingle it together again. And we're going to pour it in through this filter here. So I have this filter. If you don't have a filter, cheesecloth, anything. So as we were saying, so here is what Yeshua would have been trying to do for his great wedding present. The greatest present ever. Now, this is also a meaning for people to understand. When he gives you commandment for the bread and the wine commandment. So, in it, I will show you. Hang on 1 minute. All right, so in here, I have my dough ball that I have made. Here is a dough ball. I am making a bread. So it has been kneaded already. I have kneaded it. We're going to add a little bit of flour into my hand here. No worries about the flour. I have a bowl down here. That's, if you thought I was wasting flour, dropping it down in there. No, I'm dropping it into this bowl here, down in here. I'm a very clean person. I don't like to make a huge mess. So it's better for me to be in the sink and prepare things like this. That way I don't have to worry about it. And then I'll just press it down in here, like so, and flip it around in the flour. Get the flour all around. And just press it in here like so, to where I have made a nice little round cake. Just like so. It's unleavened bread. It's the bread that Moses, in Egypt, this is what they would have baked with no leaven. Now the commandment, like I said, when Yeshua gives you a shirk, you have the Taliban, you have the Christianity, Catholics, you have all these religions, and they teach you different shirk. Rosary beads, praying 5 times a day. All this stuff, Allah never tells anybody to do any of this. This is man's imagination. For instance, the rosary for Christians came forth from, they say, oh, Mary visited and gave them this, and they told 3 little girls and a boy at a place called Fatima. They give him a rosary, this type of stuff. And then there was a monk, supposedly. Mary appeared to him, so on and so forth. It's all craziness. So here, we're going to go right here. I already have this prepared here. Just going to drop that right inside there like so. Turn this down a little bit. I don't want it to burn on me. I want it to get a nice little slow cook. So as we do our wine, I will also be doing this over here. So let me wash my hands off really quickly. Clean all this mess up here. I don't want any of this stuff to get into my wine. So all the shirk that people practice, they get from their own imagination. God never told anybody to do such things. He never asked anybody for anything but to obey his commandments. That's all he wanted. That's all God requires, is for you to try to struggle. Jihad Israel. Try to follow his commandments. If you backslide, just repentance. But truly repent from your heart. That's circumcision, by the way, as well. You know, people talk about circumcision is of the flesh, but circumcision is really of the heart. That's where true circumcision comes in. Because when you circumcise your heart, let's say you're constantly fighting something, maybe you're a pervert, or maybe pornography is your thing. Right? For me, I'll say my sin. So, for me, back in the day, pornography was a thing for me. As a child, I was in 2nd and 3rd grade. I would go to school I found my brother's pornography magazines, and I would go and take these to school with me when I was a little bitty kid, and I'd sell them for $1 until somebody told on me, and then I got big trouble, and I got my ass lit up by my father when I got home with a belt, and I got paddled in where I showed you I go to school at that Catholic church. It's a private school they sent me to, where they had nuns and stuff, and when they found out I had that stuff, I got whooped with a paddle by a nun, right? All right, so our bread is cooking here. Now, all of these things, for your sin. So for me, it was pornography. So in order for circumcision of your heart, so your heart is being drawn. So a jinn is coming, which is an outward type of influence. Anything can be in music, TV, all these things can influence you and internally build up something inside of you. A jinn is what they call, or a demon. It's not Hollywood or Bollywood nonsense. It's just outward things that manifest itself. So for me, I became like a pervert in a manner, you know, like, oh, look, naked girls, oh, boobies in private, oh, I get so excited, looky, look, flip the page, look, oh, you know. So I'm like that, and then you circumcise your heart in a manner, you're cutting it off. So when these things come, you're like, no, I'm not going to listen to that music, it's causing a jinn. I'm not going to watch those shows that are bringing memories or things back inside me to where then it manifests itself again. So circumcision is of the heart, and remove it, and don't even fool with that type of thing, you know, if that's your sin. If you cannot contain it or control such manners, you cut it off. That's where Yeshua said, if your eye offends you, gouge it out, remove it. If your leg offends you, causes you to sin, cut it off. Better for you to go to heaven with only one leg than to go to hell with both. You understand? That's what he's talking about. Now, back to the wedding at Cana. I have lots of knowledge, man. Lots, but nobody ever wants to hear. I am in Medina. So Medina, the meaning is a big city. I am in a big city hiding around. Nobody knows who I am. Anything like that. I'm just a normal poor guy. Bum in the street kind of thing, right? Then when they find out where I'm at, this is what I believe the Hadith means. Because, see, they misinterpret lots of things. So they're trying to say, oh, he's in Medina, Saudi Arabia. They're going to go to his house and get him and drag him to Mecca. That's not what, and Mecca being Saudi Arabia as well. That's not what that means. First of all, if you understand the Hadiths, they say things like, when Imam al-Mahdi is awake and speaking, making videos like I do, or calling you on Facebook, or doing a Twitter or something like this, when I am awake, everybody that's mostly the majority of the Muslim world. Now, I live in America. Now, in the majority of the Muslim, they all live in the Middle Eastern area. Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, all those areas, right? So when it is daytime for me, it is nighttime for them. When it is nighttime for me, it is daytime for them. That's a fucking hadith. Now understand this. How can I be in Saudi Arabia if you have that fucking hadith? That means that I would be in the same time zones as you guys. That's not what the hadith says. So clearly, anyone who's living in the Middle Eastern area of a Muslim world cannot be Mahdi if you claim it. Only I can be because of where I'm at, plus all the other things. But I'm not that that's important. I just want to clarify things because I don't really care about titles and all the other nonsense. It's my words. I like to, you know, bring people closer to God in that manner, to try to jihad to Israel, to struggle with God, to become great and good, the best that you can be as a human. All right, so now we're at the wedding. He gets his wine after it's all like this, it's separate. Now we're going to dump it in here. Now, you want to be very careful. Oh man, that smells even more after one day. So good. So we're going to empty this out into here. Slowly, you want to do this slowly now. So that way you won't get anything from the bottom starting to creep its way, because it will do that. So you'll want to watch it, and I will grab my camera and I will show you what I am talking about. It's starting to, so I will try to grab my camera if I can without messing things up. Difficult task here. I am all alone by myself. I have no cameraman. So if you get really close inside here to look, you can see that, oh, there, it's way down. Hang on. We'll let that drain because it's way down in there. It's starting to fall inside here. And I don't want any of that stuff to go into my good wine. Make sure you get a good look. So as you can see, basically what's left in here is garbage. We don't need it. We can dump it all out. It's not any good. And as you'll notice, inside here is the buildup of it, the other stuff that's in here. We don't need that. We'll just let that slowly drip down inside here into the jug. Like so. See, that's not a lot. But now here's the thing. You see how little this is. Now, this wine is very potent. It's very syrupy, like I said. So we can add water and fill this up. And it still be wine. It'll still get the job done that you want, you know, to get a little head high, you know, whatever you're looking for, that type of thing. It'll go up to here and it still have that same effect. And it will be diluted in a manner, but you'll still have that taste, all that type of stuff. So this is what Yeshua was talking about when he tells the guys to grab those jugs and then he put water in them. So he would have done this, separated his wine. Maybe he had a bigger jar like this. I just had a little bitty thing. Maybe he had a whole big jar like this, right? And full of wine this high. Maybe his wine was way up here. So a little bit like this, I could fill this up right here. It'd still be wine. So if he has this, think of how many jugs he could have filled and created a large amount of wine. Like, oh, no wine? And now lots of wine. You understand? So here it is kind of stopped dripping out. We'll kind of go like this and move it around a bit just to get anything that we can. All right, so that's all. Now the rest in here is just goop. So we'll dump the goop out again, like I said. Rinse this out so you can see the goop that's in it. Right there. We don't need that stuff. That's the garbage, that's seeds. All the other stuff that's left over, we don't want it. Not in our wine. Now let's make sure we have it little clear. Now we will rinse this jug here right back out again. So see, this is a process. I have already checked on my bread. It is okay. No burn marks. Nothing like that. It is fine. Now what we will do is we'll take this again. And what I really am wanting is this right here. Here, I found it, I believe. Let's see. No, that's not it. Hang on 1 minute. All right, here we found it. This is what I mainly use. I finally found them. My coffee filters. This will really filter this out now, really good. So we cleaned that out. We're going to re-put this filter now down inside here like so. And we're going to pour this back into here and filter it one more time. This will be the final filtering. And it is a slow process, just like making coffee. I really would like to do it. I should have dumped that into this. Sometimes I go a little backwards. Tigger meow meows. That's my little tigger. So it is about like making coffee in a way. The time. I thought I could let it set there. It's trying to let it set like that, so I wouldn't have to hold it and let it just drip. We'll let it drip in there like that. Meanwhile, here is our bread. Not too thick. You can make it thinner. It is a nice piece of bread. So we will be using that for just let that drip. So we will hit pause. You know, you don't want to watch all of this for this long. That's why it takes a long time to perfectly do it like this, in this manner. So when it is drained and filtered through, you know how long it takes to make coffee. About, what, 10, 15 minutes, you know, to percolate coffee, somewhere like that, to get a full thing. So we will have to do that, and we'll just let that set. Drip inside there slowly, and let it get all filtered out through. All right, and I will be right back to show you the final product. Okay, so now we are doing this one here. Slowly pouring this one into here. Try not to get anything in it. Now we'll show you this one, so you can see inside here that goop. See how that goop starts to mix in the alcohol? We don't want that, so we're just going to, so you can look down inside here. So you see how nasty it is now? Look at that. All that yeast, all that stuff. We don't want that. That's not good stuff. You don't want to drink that. That's nasty. So we can dump this out here. We don't need that. That's garbage. However, we have this right here. So this one turned out really good. The other one is kind of hard to... I had a lot of fruit in it and a lot of yeast and sugar. It's really ginny. So it'll take a minute for that one. But this one is okay. It's kind of done. I like to put it in a smaller container, actually. I don't need so much. But this for right now, it'll work. So we will set this one. Oh, boy, that's so strong. So this one is just about done. Now, we can let this set again, and even more stuff that passed through will settle to the bottom, and we could filter it again. So throughout the whole process, you can keep filtering until it's completely pure. But that is where it's at right now. It's fine. It's fine. Now this is strawberry wine. That's the strawberry. And we will be right back. So to show you what I mean, so here is one I had right here. And as you notice, on this one, there is some goop that's on the bottom of this one, you see? Even though this has been separated, I have separated this one already. There is now goop that's built up on the bottom of this from leftover. So all I got to do now, and that's what I will do, is just filter this back out again. Whoa. Try to open this without moving stuff around. There we go. Too much. Don't want to move around too much of that on the bottom. Otherwise, it'll just blend right back in again. So I have some little bitty jars somewhere. Let me check in here. Well, I cannot find it, so that's fine. I will just use this one. And then I'll put it right back. Well, I could just use this jar altogether. No need to panic. Want to make sure it's all cleaned out. I'll just slowly dump this one out again in here. This is cherry. Now, as you can see, if you look inside here as I'm pouring it, see there's that extra leftover down inside there. We don't really need it, so I'll dump that out. Don't need that. This now is way purer, as you can see, than any of it. So what I'm going to do, here's my little cup here. I'm going to take this. Oh man, that's good too. This really cherry. So Isa, Yeshua, he gives you a short type of thing to do. If you want to remember what God has done for you and give him praise and glory, this is the manner that you do it. And this is the only thing that he has said that he would, it's not that he requires it. He doesn't say that you must do this. He says, do it in remembrance of me. In remembrance. So, the bread and the wine are a remembrance. So, you remember, he take the bread at the table. He broke the bread. First, he gave praise and thanks to the Father. And he broke the bread. He said, this is my body. This is the Lamb. This is the Ark of the Covenant. This is the Word of God. It will be given unto you and for all, so that sins may be forgiven. You have to have a forgiveness. Muslim, you don't have the forgiveness because you don't have a lamb. You have to have a lamb. That's Sharia law. That's the law. So God, in his place, he gave you the lamb. He gave you one. He spoke it into existence. Not made with man's hand or man's seed or sperm or egg, blood clot, none of that. He spoke Yeshua, Isa, Jesus, into existence and gave it as a gift to Miriam. And it is the thing that is the sacrifice, the lamb, the word, the sacrifice. You know, if God, you have to understand the word. If God's going to give his word to men, he knows that he's going to give it, they're going to corrupt it. They're going to beat him. They're going to do all sorts of kinds of things with God's word. You understand? So the whole thing is a meaning. So then he take it, he break it, blessed. It's my body. It shall be given up for you and for all for the remission of sins to save you. Ate it. You can dip it if you want. And then at the end of the supper, he takes the cup of wine. He probably made it. And he said, this is my blood. So you see the understanding of the shirk business of what a representation. It is not a requirement that you must do. It's just if you want to remember, this is a way that you can. It's acceptable because he's the one that's telling you to do it. You imagination. Oh, go get your prayer rug. Pray 5 times a day. Do this, do that. The prophets are telling you that, not God. Just like Musa. Hey, Musa, my wife, I don't want her no more. I don't want her no more. I'll give you a certificate of divorce. What did Yeshua say about that? He said from the beginning that wasn't so. Moses did that, gave that commandment because of the hardness of your heart. But from the beginning it was not so. So Moses is in error. Understand? Just like Muhammad is in error if he's teaching shirk other than what is given by God himself. You have to understand that. So at the end of the supper, he take the wine. He blessed it. He lifted it up. He blessed it. He said, this is my blood. It will be shed for you and for all, for the forgiveness of sins. Do this in remembrance of me. He took a drink. I don't drink really. I did back in high school. Beer, not wine and stuff like this, but gave it and passed it around to his disciples and they all partook of it. So you have to partake. That's the whole meaning of this whole thing is you have to partake of the lamb that Allah himself brought for you because you're poor, man, you have no lamb. Or you're ignorant, you'd have no understanding, or this or that. You accept what Allah does, not what teacher. Imam told me this. The Ayatollah told me that. The Reverend told me this. The priest told me this. What does Allah, God, Yahweh tell you? Follow that. Don't follow men. They're all corrupt. That's why I tell you, don't follow me. Listen to the words I say and try to do those things. Because even the words that I speak, I struggle with my own word. Because it's not mine, it's God's. So even I struggle in that. I am a sinner just like anybody else. So you have to understand that. So here is the only real shirk thing that God, and he didn't require it. He just said, yeah, you can remember me if you want to give me praise, worship, or zakat. Do it in this manner. Even Melchizedek with Abraham. What did Melchizedek bring out for Abraham? Bread and wine. He was the priest to the Most High God. back in those days, before there was even Levitical priest. Melchizedek was there. And according to King Dawud, what did he say? King Dawud said, you are a priest, Yeshua, Isa. You will be a priest forever. Why forever? Because he slaughtered. See, if you die in your sin, you die in your sin. He died holy, clean, unblemished, sinless. So he remained forever as this. And this is what saves. All that which the light create is the only thing that saves anything that came from the light. So you're following your own imagination. You better start listening to what Allah and the light have to say about all creation. This is the only way. The only way. See, nobody teaches it in this manner for people to understand. It's all, you know, people go to church and it's all fun and games. Oh, let's dress up. Let's play our role and do all of our prayers. You know, Jesus said all that stuff. He don't like it. Oh, look at all these guys. They make long prayers. They walk around in long robes and they make long prayers. That's what you guys do. So that's when Isa come back. And people will say, oh, Isa, we cast out demons in your name. We believed you. We did this. We did that. We believed you were a prophet. That's what the Muslim going to say. Oh, but we believed you were a prophet. Oh, he's going to say, be gone from me. I never knew you. You did not do what I asked from you. You did what you wanted to do. You see? So it's not just Christian, Muslim, Hindu, that's everybody going to be rejected if you don't know the true path, the only way to forgiveness. Even Judas, remember? The prostitute bring the perfume, break it. Judas like, hey, you could have sold that to give that to the poor. You could have done a charity work for your sin and forgive. Leave her alone. It belongs to her. And she used it to anoint me. So, all the things that people do in their practices is their own imagination. You're like Judas. What you think you know is right is not right. Yeshua said this. The poor are always going to be around. You can help them whenever you want. Doesn't mean that's going to save you. They're all over the place. I help them all the time. That's not what saves me. It's what I'm supposed to do as a human being, following the Most High God in love and in doing what Yeshua said, the 2 commandments he gave. Love God with all thy heart, all thy mind, all thy strength, and love one another as yourself. Do unto others as you would want done to yourself. So you see how all that ties together with what he is saying, what he is doing. So you want to go and do charity work or go help out, feed the poor, do this? You're supposed to be doing that. You expect God to pay you? That's like Cain and Abel. When Cain and Abel brought forth sacrifice, God never asked them to do that. And then they started fighting about it. And then what happened? Well, we all know the story, right? One brother get mad. A Muslim get mad at a Christian. The Christian get mad at the Muslim. They start shooting and killing each other and hitting each other in the head with rocks. You fucking jokes! You don't know what you're doing. You're dumb. So that's why I say, you don't want me. You know, I'm like the moon. Sometimes I have a little bit of light. Sometimes I have a lot. You don't want me to show full glory of my full moon. And you definitely don't want me to be a full blood moon. There's meanings to all of this. The Most High God created 2 great lights. One that rules the day, the other one that rules the night. And right now, we are in darkness, fitna, shirk. We need something to guide us. We need the moon. You understand? So, here we have our wine. I'm going to set my wine in here and let it go. Here is this wine here and this wine here. So these two here, I'm going to put in my refrigerator here. Let them set again. Like I said, we'll let them set again. And they will separate. It'll separate out. And we'll redo it. But, you know, like I say, it's ready. It's fine right now. It's ready to rock and roll. Man, that... Yeshua said, he not drink of the fruit of the vine until he does it new in heaven. That's what he said. For us, we have to do, we don't have to, but this is a way, if you truly want to remember him, this is what he said to do. The Spirit of Allah was in him. So when he spoke the word, like it says in the Quran of Maryam, when Isa is speaking, it's Allah speaking. How come you don't realize that? So, this is our wine. This is the only shirk I will ever practice. I will never join into anybody's dead man grave, no matter how much you beg and plead me. Because Most High God has forbidden me from it. And on top of it, I'll tell another thing. A lot of people don't know this about me. Maybe there's a hadith that Ayatollahs and people know that they have not said. But the reason that people come, so I was trying to tell you a story about Medina. I'm in Medina. People find out where I'm at. Medina just means big city. That's what it means, big city. Then what's going to happen is, when they all find me, they're going to grab me and bring me to Mecca. What is Mecca? Mecca is where everybody's at. Well, where is everybody at praising God? At a masjid, at a church, at a temple. They all want me to grab me, take me. You come here with us. You need to come to the church with us. You need to come to the masjid with us and tell us your words, things that you know. You know, they force me to do this. And I fight against it because here's the thing. According to the law, since you want to follow the damn law so much, even though it's been fulfilled, according to the law, I'm not allowed to go into the assembly. I'm not allowed. It's in Deuteronomy 14, I believe. Deuteronomy 14, chapter 14, verse 1 and 2. Even a man who has a crushed testicle or something like that, a privy member cut, he cannot come and enter into the assembly. So I was born with a undescended testicles problems, those things. When I was a baby, my parents never got it taken care of. So when I was being adopted, I guess maybe they saw something weird about it. So when I was about 3, 4 years old, they took me to the state doctor because now I'm under the state. They took me from my family, my biological. Now I'm with the state, going from one house to another house. I went on a farm one time. I had a horse. I was a little kid, wore cowboy boots, stuff like that. And they saw that and they gave me operation. And during the operation, they mess up a little. So I am cut. That's why I say I am kind of like a eunuch. I'm not a eunuch, but I am like that. I have a severed testicle, crushed testicle, whatever you want to call it in that manner. So I'm not allowed to go with you guys to Mecca. I stay in the Medina. If you want to hear me, your phone, my videos, why do I have to be drugged to Mecca? Why do I have to go where you all are at? You making me break the commandment of God for your what? And this is the wrongness of this is what God's going to get onto you about, because they're going to force me to come out and be in Mecca. And Mecca is what? A gathering place where everybody goes there. You know, a church is Mecca. A temple is a great big Mecca. Jerusalem is a big Mecca. You know, here in my state where I live, Cincinnati is the big Mecca. If you lived in Michigan and you were a Muslim, Dearborn, Michigan's the big Mecca. In Dearborn, that's the biggest masjid. So do you guys understand this now? It's very simple. So I'm going to end this video. I think I have explained enough about the wine and how that miracle is actually performed. Don't go around saying that the Most High God practices witchcraft ever again. It's nonsense. I can't help it your teachers teach you shit. Just remember that God calls witchcraft an abomination. Yet you're going to say he's going to turn around and commit the thing that he says don't do? Come on. How dumb are you? Right? So there's many of the miracles. Now, when it came to the raising of the dead, that's Allah. Because Allah gives life. So that is a miracle. When Lazarus came from the grave, he was dead. Jesus, Yeshua Isa was prayed. But he didn't pray to God openly for his benefit because he knew God heard him. He did it for the people's sake. So that the people would believe. So he asked God to bring Lazarus back. God brought Lazarus back, not Yeshua. God did. Allah did. But Allah is in Yeshua. But as the flesh, Yeshua is not the one that did it. That was Allah that did that. There's many different types of things I could get into with everyone, but this is my wine video. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum.